Now this YNW Melly case is starting to pick up very rapidly. After having very little evidence being released for 2 years, everything is now starting to come out at once. YNW Melly is sadly starting to look defeated, and I'll be sharing everything in this video, so let's get straight into it. Now YNW Melly's last court hearing was around 1 month ago. That's when a bunch of new evidence came out, as well as this photo of YNW Melly awaiting to step into the courtroom. Now this photo of YNW Melly, it looks very concerning. Usually YNW Melly looks very confident, he's always smiling, but here it kinda seems as if he's defeated, and I'm not sure if it's just due to the photo quality, but it looks kind of concerning. Now in the past, YNW Melly would send messages to his fans from behind bars weekly on Instagram. Lately, besides promoting his new album, he's actually been very quiet about his court case and when he'll be released. YNW Melly was hoping that his last court hearing that he would then be accepted for bail or even house arrest. The last time that YNW Melly requested for house arrest, he actually did it in the same court hearing as YNW Bortlen did, the man that Melly was originally arrested with 2 years ago. When YNW Bortlen requested house arrest with YNW Melly a few months ago, Bortlen was actually accepted, and that is when YNW Melly was declined due to some very severe evidence coming out against YNW Melly, with him allegedly admitting to doing the act towards Juvie and Sack Chaser. The law enforcement brought out a piece of evidence that said, and I quote, "Then also, we have a video of Mr. Demons admitting to doing an act towards 2 individuals in the head." And then we also found out YNW Melly messaged his girlfriend at the time this, and I quote, "I keep Bortlen with me because at the end of the day, he did one of the realest stuff in my life." Now, that message was sent to his girlfriend on Snapchat just a few days after Juvie and Sack Chaser passed. Now when YNW Melly was told this evidence, allegedly his face just completely froze, as this is very significant evidence against YNW Melly, and YNW Bortlen was then granted house arrest due to the evidence against Melly. Now, while none of the actual information of last month's court hearing has been renounced, other than that photo, it has been said that even more evidence was shown against YNW Melly, which is why he probably looked like that in the picture. A list of even more evidence actually came out against YNW Melly, and it starts with the following. This video was on Mr. Demon's cell phone. This was brought to my office by Jameson Francis, and that is how we had that. And that is all of the evidence that Your Honor has. Now obviously that piece of evidence is them still talking about the video of YNW Melly admitting to doing it, but the next court document states, and I quote, "These particular cell phones, which were both iPhone 10s, were on the T-Mobile network. T-Mobile has a very interesting feature where it will tell you the environment that the cell phone is in, so from these cell phone records, I can tell you the exact moment that Demons got out of the car and staged the drive-by location." To a regular person who's not following this case every day, those 2 bits of evidence is obviously going to be very confusing, but this is very significant evidence when you actually hear of what the law enforcement believed happened on the day Juvie and Sack Chaser sadly passed. Now this all starts on October 26th in 2018. Law enforcement believed that at 3:30 in the morning, YNW Melly, Juvie, Sack Chaser, and Bortlen were all at a recording studio, and they were all getting work done for one of YNW Melly's newest albums, and until their session was over, they were all together and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. When their studio session was over, all 4 of them then hopped into their Jeep and started heading home. The driver of the vehicle on this morning was actually YNW Bortlen, and YNW Melly was sitting directly behind him, with Juvie and Sack Chaser on the other side of the vehicle. It has been said that Bortlen ended up taking a back road home to skip early morning traffic. Now, while law enforcement doesn't know what happened inside of the car, the theory is that since it was so early in the morning, being 3:30 in the morning, YNW Juvie and Sack Chaser could have just fell asleep or something in that nature, or a distraction was made within the vehicle to catch Juvie and Sack Chaser off guard while YNW Melly did the act towards them in the vehicle. Law enforcement believe that it was YNW Melly who did the act, as the information we shared earlier of YNW Melly sending his girlfriend a text a few weeks later saying, "I kept Bortland with me because at the end of the day, he did some of the realest stuff in my life." Now, this could be taken as a way of thanking Bortland for remaining loyal and not snitching to the law enforcement about him doing the act, as well as the video of YNW Melly himself admitting to doing it. But allegedly, law enforcement believe that after the act was done, YNW Bortland then drove the vehicle into a side parking lot where nobody was around and there was no street cameras. And that is where YNW Melly and Bortland hopped out of the vehicle, roughed it up with their own firearms to kind of make it appear as if a drive-by happened, as YNW Melly did state that a drive-by is what caused this entire mess. Now, this would end up being Melly and Bortland's excuse for this happening for when they bring Sack Chaser and Juvie to the hospital for medical attention. But the main part in this entire case is, after Juvie and Sack Chaser sadly passed, YNW Melly and Bortland took 40 minutes to get them medical attention, and they got them medical attention not even with an ambulance. YNW Melly and Bortland took 40 minutes to drive them all the way to the hospital themselves, even though allegedly the hospital is nowhere near 40 minutes away from where they were. Now, this actually is where the one piece of evidence comes into play, where on the T-Mobile network, they can go back in time and see where was YNW Melly's cell phone, and they can track everywhere where it went. As in the evidence, it states that they can tell what environment that the cell phone is in, whether it's in a vehicle, where it went, did it go to a side parking lot. They can actually go back in time and look at all of that. So they're going to be able to tell on what actually ended up taking 40 minutes to get their two best friends medical attention, and to actually answer the question on why did they not call an ambulance. Now, the court case is looking very severe against YNW Melly. In my eyes though, I still stick to the theory of YNW Melly saying he's innocent. I'm a huge YNW Melly fan. I would love nothing more than him to be released tomorrow at the time of this recording. I would love for him to be released and to be innocent in this case. Anyways, it's been District Trending and I'm ending the video here. I'm out. Peace.